There is a big problem with DIY, and it's probably not what you think. I'd actually not thought about it myself either before some few days ago, but it all became very obvious to me as I was preparing for my next task on this bike. You can see here I'm placing my bike on my bike stand, but I cannot use this one for my next project because I'm gonna do modifications to the rear subframe. So I need to support my bike in the front. And since I am a DIYer, my first thought was to use my car hydraulic jack and make some kind of adapter to fit underneath my motorcycle. Here you can see what I came up with. It was just a steel tube, and I welded on some brackets and made sure it fitted exactly under my motorcycle. I was quite satisfied with this one. It worked as I hoped for, and it only took me a couple of hours, well, a bit more with the priming and painting, but all in all, a success. I could of course have just bought me some jacks specifically designed for this purpose, but you know, as a DIYer, we build our own stuff. Of course, it's not good enough to just have this jack stand at the center in the middle of the motorcycle. I need to support the front wheel as well. Since I had an extra rear bike stand laying around, a new DIY project was born. This, however, took some evenings to fabricate. In addition to cutting up these metal pieces and welding them together, I also made this crank handle, including 3D printing, priming and painting, and I even glued on some rubber there to not damage the rim. And well, at least I hope this will be a nice solution, and when everything is taken apart, it doesn't take too much space. I can just put it in a drawer. Very compact solution. But of course, I could just have bought a solution and saved me a lot of time, and they're not expensive either. They are mass produced in China, probably doesn't cost much. Of course, it's cheaper to make them myself with leftover materials I have laying around, but it's not totally free to make them myself either. And then comes the exciting part, testing out the DIY project for the first time. At this exact moment, everything looked very promising. Everything just worked exactly as I hoped for. Sometimes, you know, you just feel everything is going your way. But as soon as I started to test it by wiggling the handlebar, it didn't feel that secure as I had hoped for. And when I now remove the rear stand, you will see my bike isn't sturdy at all with this front support. So this was a total failure. But that is not the problem with DIY. Of course you're gonna fail. Of course you're not gonna succeed every time when you're doing something outside your domain. You're doing it for the first time. You can't expect success every time. Even though it's allowed to fail, I have to admit I was a bit disappointed. I was very disappointed, especially when I think of all the time I spent building this front wheel support. Okay, so I've built a center stand, I built a front stand, and none of them really works at this point. So maybe I should have admitted defeat and bought this commercial available reasonable priced options that I showed you instead. But you know, as a DIYer, I figured out I'd give it a third try here. So I made this new front stand that supports the bike under the fork. It is possible to buy this front fork lifts also that are universal, fits any bike. This is specifically designed for this Honda, so it can't be used by any other motorcycle, I would assume. But then again, it's very compact, it doesn't take too much space. And you will see me here when I'm lifting it up again using my car jack. I also able to put in a crossbar and support it with my car jack stands. Yeah, you will see how I do it. And this did work pretty well. But of course this new front stand did take some time to fabricate. I had to cut out some metal pieces, weld them, even welded on some nuts to secure the cross section. You will see me putting it on soon. And the priming and painting, probably I spent almost a whole evening making it work as I would. So all in all now I've made 3 different stands and spent almost a whole week doing it. And now you probably can understand what I think when I say there is a big problem with DIY. This is exactly the problem. At least I am facing it. Of course, if I can rebuild a motorcycle, for sure I can make some motorcycle stands. That's much easier, you know. And then again, this applies to everything. If I can do this, then I can do that. But the problem is I can't do everything. So what's happening here is I'm spending a lot of time making these motorcycle stands, saving some few bucks, and maybe I can make them compact or designed exactly as I want them, better than universal ones. But anyway, I'm spending a lot of time on other DIY projects, and then my real DIY project, the one I really want to finish up, and that is of course to be done with my motorcycle. That is the big goal. That means I really need to find a way to avoid these side projects. I need to focus on my main project. And there you got it. The problem with DIY is that there's infinite number of DIY projects just laying there, and you can pick one after the other and got totally sidetracked. And by the way, my new front stand worked pretty well. The bike feels very secure now, and when I combined all 3 of my DIY stands, the bike is rock solid. And I'm ready to start working on the subframe, and I can take off the rear part of the bike. I wonder though, is this a problem with DIY or is this a problem with me? That I easily get sidetracked? Or is this a typical problem you are facing as well? So I'm asking you as a DIYer, if you are doing a DIY project, is it easy to make up a new DIY project as part of it, as I have described now? Or do you have any trick up your sleeves that you can share with me? I would really appreciate your help. I'm not completely done yet. My hydraulic jack will eventually slide down, so I need a couple of jack stands here at the center as well. I will probably buy some this time, not make it myself. So, 1 DIY project avoided. Great. Excellent. Full focus on the cafe racer from now on. My next task is then to make a new seat hoop. I bought this steel pipe, 1 inch in diameter, perfect for this use, but I need to bend it. I don't have a pipe bender. Should I buy one or should I make one? That would be a nice DIY project. Or what?